Hi, I'm Rich Colgard, publisher of Forbes. You're about to see a terrific video with Mark Herman, Senior Vice President, Booz, Allen and Hamilton, in conversation with Forbes Managing Editor Bruce Uppin, talking about cloud computing, and particularly how cloud computing at Booz Allen is not only a tool to save costs, but a tool to drive revenue.
Mark, you've been going around talking about this idea of cloud EBITDA, if I pronounced that right.
Yeah.
What exactly is that, and what does it mean?
Well, right now, most people are looking at the cloud as a way to save money, as a way to create more efficient operations. Mm-hmm. But the next wave that is starting in some places but not in others yet is how do you take what that infrastructure allows you to do, what the cloud enables, and actually making getting top line growth.
So what are the key obstacles for most companies in getting value out of their data? One
of the problems that most companies have is where are they on their IT maturity cycle. Mm-hmm. So in other words, if you just spent $1 billion on IT, you're not going to be so enthusiastic about dumping all that and getting a cloud infrastructure.
Do you have to dump it all? Do you have to have cloud to get value out of your data?
No, but what you typically, one of the problems, let me just get that quickly. What is the cloud first off? Okay,
yeah,
so
it's a good one.
Yeah, I think it's a good place to start. We all have data farms, right? But what happened is that people put data in databases. So you have an HR database, you have a financial database. I mean, you have all these different products. But what we found in the new technology, typically enabled by one of the programs called Hadoop, you can now link servers together. So instead of your data being in like 10 different places, you put it into one place called a data lake.
It used to be a warehouse, data mart, now it's a data lake?
It's a data lake. And
okay.
A data lake, imagine a data lake is the largest flat file spreadsheet you ever thought of. Billions by billions of cells, and every cell is a different, it could be a document, it could be an algorithm, it could be, it could be anything. But every cell of that gigantic spreadsheet is one gigantic flat file, and as we all know, computers love flat files. And so the efficiency of putting all sorts of diverse data in the same place is where you're getting some of this enormous value. It's how do you start to take customer preferences and supply chain and all these things and link them all together in a very complex way, which creates enormous efficiency. And efficiency creates revenue opportunities.
Mm. But how do you know what you don't know? I mean, that's always a famous question, because let's say you want to know what the secrets are in your data, but you don't really know the right question to ask, or you don't have the right question, or you're not getting the answers you think you
well, it's funny.
Getting. Because a lot of business people are intuitive about their business.
Yeah.
And when the data doesn't match their intuition, they get very frustrated.
Typically, when you actually talk to CEOs, there are things they wish they knew. So you don't even have to, it's more just saying, well, tell me the 3 things you wish you knew you can't get out of your system now. Those are the questions you can answer, actually. Okay. So it's usually there's a bunch of things that our RT doesn't support that answer.
What would be an example of something like that?
In the hospitality suite, right, you have loyalty programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question that CI goes, how do I know that I'm making more money from this loyalty program than if I didn't have it at all? People would just randomly come to me, I don't have to spend all this money.
Seems like a pretty simple question.
It's very hard to answer, by the way. Because you're looking at individual behaviors of hundreds of thousands of customers. Would they have shown up if you hadn't given them a coupon?
Right.
And there are some very complex mathematics around Bayes' theorem that you can actually use, and Bayesian belief networks allow you to actually start to create the ability to say what is the net value of the loyalty program versus not doing it at all. And so that is sort of a very big feature, because a lot of loyalty programs, in the end, am I getting anything for this? Mm-hmm. And then you actually being able to value that is the thing that says I should either be doing more of it, less of it, or what parts of it should I be doing more of, is where you get the huge efficiencies. So do people respond better to a coupon? Do they want to get an email? Mm-hmm. Do they want a free night? I mean, what is the mechanism that really drives? And by the way, you can have a population where it's different for everybody. And so the ability to tailor to that individual the thing that actually motivates them versus what motivates everybody is the big difference.
So you get companies trying to identify buckets of customers based on their attributes? And
that's a cool part. You actually don't have to have buckets of customers anymore. You can actually be talking directly to that customer. We all have iPhones. I just turned mine off, by the way, so they won't ring during this interview. But the point is that when it's on, there's exhaust. I call it smartphone exhaust. Mm-hmm. Everything, wherever I walk, whatever I do, I just I bought something at a coffee shop, and I used an app to get it, and that's known, right? Everything where I am all the time, and that exhaust is flowing into gigantic databases at each of those corporations, and they say, wow, Mark only likes to drink black coffee. He doesn't like the really nice drinks, but he happens to like donuts. Let's give him a coupon for donuts and black coffee, and let's not worry about the nice drinks, et cetera.
Right. Now, a lot of CIOs get caught up in the cost part. Is it secure? Will it cost me a lot more than my current systems?
Sure.
And is it too complicated to manage?
So I started talking about this. How liquid is the IT infrastructure? So in other words, if you're at the end of your life cycle, you're going to buy new stuff anyway. So there, the cost, the barrier to entry is low for you because you're going to spend whatever your budget is to buy new servers, new hardware, new software, new process. You can start to get the efficiency and the cost gains immediately. If you just spent a huge amount of money on an IT infrastructure a year ago, and you have to amortize it over the next 4 years or so, what you would be looking at more as pilot projects. How do I build a roadmap to get there, and I can then test the waters in sort of more pilot programs. So you're going to have a very different, and then people could be in the middle.
The difference between if you bought 4 years ago, it would all still be internal IT infrastructure.
Depends on how they bought it.
4 years ago, you probably weren't buying in the cloud.
Yeah, I would say that for many companies, they hadn't bought the cloud. Again, let's go back. They're not buying the cloud. They're buying the ability to put the data in one place. It is that flat file. The cloud is the gigantic flat file. That's where the difference is. It's more the data structure than it is. You can have. Remember, you had the same amount of data, right? If I got a petabyte of data across 10 servers, and I put them in one place, it's still 1 petabyte of data in one server. Well, it's a server farm. So it's really the organization of the data, how I'm using it that changes, not necessarily the amount of data that I have.
Okay.
You don't gain more data. Right. Now, as far as the security part goes, what's different about a data lake is we secure data at the data level. In other words, each cell in that gigantic flat file has its own security permissions. It's very easy to do. So in other words, you may be able to say, you could see some financial data, but not all financial data. And I know, and by the way, more importantly, I say, you can see that data if you're on this computer between these hours. Because if somebody's trying to break in, they may be coming from another computer, they may be coming off hours. And so I can actually lock down and secure my data in a very different way because each data element, and even if somebody broke in, they can get one data element, they can't get the whole database.
These are very common security offerings that at the market
when
right
you
now?
Deal with the cloud, it's very easy to do. It's a natural artifact of how it's organized.